So,
Hello and welcome. Welcome to Making Time for Black Mental Health Events. Guys, whether you're tuning in from YouTube or you're live on Zoom, welcome to Making Time for Black Mental Health Events. We're shortly going to start with the housekeeping. So over to you, Serena, for the housekeeping.
good evening, everyone. So housekeeping today is really straightforward. It's a webinar, so members of the audience, we can't see any of you on camera, but you can see our panelists on camera. There is a Q&A. If you look on your toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you should be able to ask questions in the Q&A section, and either myself or a member of the moderator team will get back to you. If your question is related to what the panelists are discussing, then we will raise those questions towards the end of each segment. Just really sit back and enjoy, and any questions, just put them in the chat.
Hi guys, so today you are tuned in to Making Time for Black Mental Health Events, and today's mission is to share with you how you can find free Black mental health support. So we're so happy that you can join us. There will be a panel discussion with therapists at the end of the session. So if you have any questions, just drop them down into the chat. So some of you who might be new to Making Time for Black Mental Health Events, we were founded in 2021, and it was founded by myself, who I bring lived in mental health. And to be honest, I wanted to build a community where we could get free access to Black therapists that look like us, that come from the same background and can come from the same cultural experience as us. So we have won grant funding from Southeast Mind, Oxley Mental Health. And with this, we're actually able to make our events free. And what we do for the Eventbrite is we allow delegates to ask questions, what they would like answered from our panelists. So today we've got a great board of panelists. So what we will do is we will first kick off with our first panel discussion. So over to you, Serena, for the first panel discussion. Thank you.
Okay. So for our panelists, the question is, why is there Black mental health stigma, and how can we motivate Black people to seek mental health support? So I'm just going to go round our panelists and get their opinion on this question. So I'll say it again. Why is there Black mental health stigma, and how can we motivate Black people to seek mental health support? So I'm going to come to you first, Wendy.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So my take on this is that it's to do with the belief about mental health. It's about the stigma and traditions that people hold in terms of what mental health is. So that's what I believe about Black mental health stigma.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm going to go to Lloyd now.
Hi there.
I think you've muted yourself, Laurie.
Sorry, hi, I'll start again. Um, One of the factors is how we as a Black community view mental health and the historical aspects around the Black experience of mental health. Um, and very similar to what Wendy had said also.
Thank you, Lloyd. Blaine, can I get your take on this?
Hi, feelings of shame, feelings of a blemished body, being othered and thought of as a second-class citizen, living in the shadow of expectations from family, friends, community resources, having to feel that our identity has been affected and our capacity to cope with things, managing money, budgeting, dealing with addiction, dealing with our cravings, dealing with the side effects of medication, dealing with the Caribbean perspective of mental health, dealing with the system. I just mentioned those things as if there's some notion of what stigma means. And then amidst all these type of issues, we still have to find ways to seek support with people that we trust within the system. I hope that's okay.
Thank you. Io?
Good evening, everyone. Sincere apologies. I had troubles logging in. Yes, just to answer your question, I think what people have said, but just to add to that, specifically I'm originally from Nigeria, and in my community, people will, I think the idea we have of mental health issue really extreme, where maybe someone's really had a breakdown and they have been locked up. So there is a stigma around that, in the sense that if someone maybe says that, or they know that someone is going through something like that, it's almost like they are pushed to one side and thinking that, oh, okay, everyone that has a mental health issue really should be locked up. And then you hear comments like, we don't suffer depression, or we don't have mental health issue. It's not a Black person's issue. So with that, you find that there is a lot of stigma around mental health issue. In terms of what can be done, is just to continue raising awareness. I can definitely say that in the raising awareness, things have changed even in the last 5 years. That's my bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Io. That's really insightful. Amy?
Hello, everyone. So the stigma that comes to mind for me is the connection to being Black equals to being strong. So there's this feeling of mental being defined as a type of weakness. So if you are if you're mentally ill, it means you're weak. It means you have lost control of the situation. It means that you are not really tied to your identity as a Black person or as a Black individual. So I feel like there is that concealment going on, which is the stigma that I think is tied to mental health in the Black community. And just as it has been mentioned earlier, I think is just to continue to raise awareness about the situation and breaking down those walls.
Thank you. So, a lot of you mentioned what kind of things stand out as stigma, let's call them topics, like things that come up for people, um, and cause this stigma to happen. What kind of things can we do to motivate people to access support around Black mental health? And I'll come to you again, Wendy.
I personally think from a professional perspective that we need to have more people who look like us, who identify with us, who've lived lives like us as well. The professionals are mainly from different cultures and they speak, different languages to us. So I think we need to have more people, like I said, that look like us and been through lived experiences like us. We also need to have more befriending, more advocates as well. So not just the professionals, but we need to have people and places where they can be with people who've been through the same experience so that they can befriend them and to share how they've got through what they've been through and how they've got that support as well. I just think about, how the community's been broken and how the community needs to sort of come back together and share rather than to be separated, but collaborate, to share information with each other.
Thank you. Lloyd, your thoughts?
My thoughts are is that we need a kind of holistic approach within the Black community. So the biggest resource we have within our Black community is the population. So if we can encourage more of the people who are going through emotional difficulties and mental health problems to access the services, detraining, such as the mental health first aid course and talk when there's a problem, and really tap into the services that are out there in existence.
Thank you. Blaine, your thoughts, please.
Yes, we're all connected to the statutory services, and when we ask the question what we can do to motivate Black people to take up services, we all need our statutory services and crisis services when a crisis happens. And I just fully support all what panel members have said today. It's about a mixture of what would be an ideal service for us if any of us needed to access the service, and some of us have. And a relationship with a kind and caring health professional or member of the NHS is always a very good start. We know the challenges of services when professionalism fails. Yeah, meeting that wrong person in the other side of the services who really has no time or shows no empathy or shows no relationship skills. So no matter the color of the person, is that connection to humanity. We are a people of humanity, often derided for the color of our skin. We have come together to offer ways in which practitioners, professionals can operate in an anti-racist way. And so, of course, when we see another professional on the other side, a psychiatrist, a nurse, etc., we feel we have a kindred spirit. But do we often? Because those very professionals have to advocate for us, and sometimes it might be difficult for them. And others might have their own trauma that they're manifesting in their professionalism towards us as patients. So it's a double jeopardy. We are a racialized people. We haven't called ourselves Black. The system has called us Black. We are of our ethnicities, our African heritage, our Caribbean heritage. We have recognize that the label of Black is a political manifestation. And when there is a call for politics, it means there's been an injustice. And when there's an injustice, we are often the tip of the arrow, often the victims, but to campaign for what's just and right. The Mental Health Act legislation for many years, I didn't realize, had an appeal process inside the whole sectioning process, an opportunity for advocacy, an opportunity to appeal decision. Many of us have work with white experts who don't quite understand the nuances of what it means to be a Jamaican or a St. Lucian or a Nigerian or a Gabonese or a Togolian or a South African or a Zimbabwe. Hey, folks, we are as diverse as the seeds in the field being planted. Yeah. We just need people to be taking time to get to know us and then help us to formulate a plan together for our rehabilitation. Hope that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And just quickly before we move on, do you have any practical thoughts about how people can access services and that support? What might be a person's first step? I'm gonna come to you, Amy.
Okay, so I was gonna say that so it sounds like it's two different questions. So am I answering the previous question, or is this a different question now?
Yeah, practical steps that someone can take if they wanted to try and access some support.
Well, I'm not a professional in that in this field, so I don't know if I have the right answers. But I suppose you could access the NHS or your GP, I suppose. That could be a starting point. And I know that also there are now apps available out there where you can befriend someone, or you can speak to a therapist online, and you can actually make selections of people that you feel like, or therapists that you feel like relate to you better. So it's not that you go in blind and just you're just giving anyone that is available, but there is now services out there that makes it easier for you to choose who can help you in this area.
Thank you so much, everybody, for your contributions. For us to make sure we create an effective Making Time for Black Mental Health, we do like to take short polls. So before we enter our next segment about self-care, what do we do for self-care? What's our favorite self-care? Serena will just conduct a very short poll. Thank you, guys.
So on your screens, you should see a poll. It's asking where you're from. It's really important that we understand where everybody's from for our reporting purposes and our funders. So if everyone can answer that, that'd be really good.
How do you edit, please? I cannot enter any characters. Apologies.
It's panelists are, as not as important as members of the audience, so I wouldn't worry too much, Blaine. We can add your details after.
So panelists, while the delegates are thinking about their answers to our poll, start thinking about what is your favorite self-care. It's really important for our community that we hear from others and Black professionals. What do you do for your self-care? Because self-care is a great way to look after our mental health and also to get ideas from others or steal ideas from others. So we are going to go around the panel list. And before you give your favorite self-care, I'll just ask you to say your name and your job title and the organization that you're from. So I'll start with Wendy. Wendy, if you can introduce your name and your job title, please, and where you're from.
So I'm Wendy, and my job title is it's quite a mouthful. So I'm a counsellor, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach, I'm a clinical supervisor, so I supervise counsellors as well. I'm a specialist mentor, so I work with university students and adults or young people who've got mental health neurodivergencies. I'm a trainer, I'm a systemic family practitioner, and I'm also an advocate. I have my own private practice, Unity of Self, but I also work in collaboration with other organisations as well. Was there what was the other thing?
Wonderful. What's the name of your practice, please?
Oh, Unity of Self.
Unity of Self. I'll get the panelists to drop your website in. So, Wendy, tell us, what do you enjoy for your self-care and to look at mental health? What do you do for your self-care and to look after your mental health?
So I love Zumba. And I love Zumba because it's music, it's dancing, it's movement, and you have a community. So you have people around you as well. So Zumba just, collaborates all of those things all together for me. So if I'm not able to do Zumba, I would listen to the music and I'll just think about, I'll like transport myself into a class or something like that. So that's what I do.
Wonderful, wonderful. Over to Blaine. I'll put you on the spotlight, Blaine.
This is a very important.
So Blaine, let's start by introduce yourself and what's your occupation, so those that can get to know you.
Hi, I'm Blaine Robin. I'm a senior lecturer at Leeds Beckett University. I am an occupational therapist since 1994, and I train the next generation of occupational therapists who do clinical placements within a range of practice settings, including forensic mental health, as well as inpatient wards and community mental health teams, for which I have some years' experience.
Wonderful. And what's your favorite self-care and how do you look after your mental health?
My favorite self-care spans across the daytime. My ideal is I can wake up in the morning early and get engaged in some basic mobility exercises like playing basketball or sometimes going for a walk in the woodlands. These things very much take me back to my childhood. So when I play basketball, I think back to when I was 13, which is over 40 years ago, when I first played that. When I go for walks, I appreciate nature, a sense of mindfulness, a sense of appreciating the lovely universe and the planet that we're part of. And these help me feel good amongst myself, as well as the other self-care that we attend to. So I'm very much interested in leisure occupations, interested in researching this. I'm research active across all diverse social groups and hard to reach social groups. So I'm really interested in this area. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Can we bring Io to the stage? Io, if you unmute, introduce your name, your job role and organization that you are representing, please.
Thank you. So I'm Io Pupola. I am a volunteer for Cruise Bereavement Care. I also run my own private practice, Identify Counseling and Therapy. I'm also a housing practitioner. I work for London Borough of Hackney, where I'm also a mental health champion for the service, my service area. I'm also an advocate for mental health. What else do I have to say? In terms of my my self-care, my favorite self-care routine, I like to have a soak and in a bath and listen to a podcast, or I have a few groups that I listen to, one on Clubhouse that I particularly listen to. I can't catch up. So when I'm having that, my soak, that's what I listen to. Or when I'm absolutely really tired, I go for a walk. And that could be in the mornings, early in the mornings, or late in the evening. So yes, that's what I do. That's me. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. We love that. Go for a walk because that tends to energize you, right?
Absolutely. I get the energy back that I've lost. So that's why I said when I'm really tired, I'm actually prompted to go for a walk because I know that that really gets me back going. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Over to Lloyd, please.
Hi, so my name is Lloyd Curtis, and I'm an occupational therapist assistant. So, in layman's terms, that's an unqualified occupational therapist. I work for a private healthcare organization. I don't want to give their names because I don't want to give them free publicity. uh, but my organization that I represent today is the Black Men's Consortium. My self-care regime, well, it's in two things. So I really like cycling. So on the weekends, I'll get up early and I can cycle for miles. I can cycle all day if need be. You can jump on a bike with a problem, and by the time you finish your ride, you've found a solution or you feel better. And the other one is drama. I love doing drama, and so hence me being involved with the Black Men's Consortium because we do drama, and it is brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Can we have Amy?
Hello, my name is Amy Adekambi. Actually, before I go on, I just want to mention that Sabrina wants me to inform you that she's struggling to log in, but she's
Yes,
trying to
I've
get.
sent Sabrina an email. Yes, I've given her
Okay.
another option to log in. Thank you for telling me.
All right. I am an admin project support worker for an organization called Consult Disability Outreach. My self-care is a range of things. So I hair day, for instance, I have days when I dedicate my whole day just doing my hair. That could be washing, conditioning, blow drying, styling. I find that very relaxing and rewarding, and it kind of helps to boost my self-esteem. It helps me to feel good about myself. Going to the gym, swimming, especially early in the mornings, because that helps me to organize my thoughts and makes me feel fit and ready and strong for the day. I also love to write, especially spoken words, poetry. So I tend to find my thoughts in my writing. So that's another way that I consider that to be self-care for me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amy. Sabrina, are you in the chat? If so, can you send me a direct message and we'll find a way with technology by audio to connect you. So if you can send me a chat in the DM, because I think you've been able to log in via your phone, and we'll add you to the panelists. Thank you so much. Mercy, can we bring you to the spotlight, please?
Yes, hello everyone.
If you introduce your name and your job role and the organization you're representing. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mercy Brown. I'm a specialist perinatal mental health nurse, currently retired, by doing some work with the community mental health team for Oxleys. I've been nursing in perinatal for the last 25 years, and I championed training and education in perinatal mental illness before the service was given a boost with some money to go viral. At the moment, I'm working with Mom's Aid, and I'm representing Mom's Aid today. I've set up an Aquaba group, which is a group that supports women, particularly Black and ethnic minority ladies, with postnatal difficulties with their babies from a year to 18 months. And it's a service that's recently started, mainly for Black and ethnic minority ladies who are suffering from perinatal mental illness. So people who in some cases will not be able to get access to secondary mental health service, but still need some work done. So we're offering them that sort of intensive support as well as counseling. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. I like singing. I sing in my church, and I'm the president for the singing group. So there's a lot of activity with sing and dance, and I like cooking too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that information. And part of the event objective today, we are helping you to find free support within your local community for Black mental health. The reason we wanted to put this event together is it's awareness and education that these services exist. So where we specialize in supporting you for Black mental health and access to Black therapists, we have handpicked some great panelists today from mum's mental health, from bereavement, from disability, from parent carers who are very specific in what they do. We have moderators in the room, and they're going to drop a Linktree link in the chat. And you can go to that Linktree link anytime after this event, where you'll find the contact details of all the panelists that have been on the spotlight today. So whilst we have Mercy, we're going to hear some more information about the service that's just been launched from Mum's Aid that supports Black mums. So Mercy, could you tell me a little bit more about the service? How do you help Black mums in the community? And is this a free service, please?
Right. Aquaba is the name of the service, and Aquaba in Ghanaian language means welcome. I established over the years working with mental health services that Black people want to feel welcomed wherever they go, because before you can trust anyone, you have to be able to feel welcome by the person, because that's one of the issues. We know that in research, there's a lot of barriers for us Black people seeking help in so many ways. Maternal mental health is an issue. Most of the ladies that we work with over the years struggle to seek help because, one, they are afraid that social services will get involved, take their babies away. They are afraid of the stigma, which we spoke about earlier, that at least being an ethnic minority in the country, UK, and then having that diagnosis of being mad again is a big thing for them to carry. And again, as a mother, as a wife, it's difficult to accept that you are not coping. So with all this, we decided to bid for some money to set up a service mainly for our ladies, Black and ethnic minority, or now with the majority ethnic minority group. So it started last week. What we do is we offer 10 weeks active psychoeducation. We offer counseling. If people can afford psychotherapy, that can also be offered. We support young moms in the sense of 15 to 19. And they also are offered support by Mom's Aid in counseling. Mom's Aid offer free counseling for relationship difficulties, sometimes with bereavement. So there's a lot of things to tap in, but this Aquaba is special, as I said, for Black and ethnic minority ladies who in some ways would have struggled to seek help because of the fear of losing their children.
And is this an in-person or is it via the telephone?
It's a face-to-face. It's a face-to-face service meeting once every week.
And how do people sign up for it?
You sign up from Mom's Aid website where there's a referral form, referral from health visitors, midwives, GPs. Sometimes a step down from secondary mental health services where people have been discharged back home. They are isolated, they are lonely, they need someone to support them. We do that as well.
Wonderful. And where can they find you online?
Online is Mom's Aid, the Moms with -aids.org.
Wonderful, wonderful. So we'll get our moderators to add that to the chat.
Yes.
So thank you so much. And is Mum's Aid on social media? What are your social media handles?
It's on social media, definitely they've got Facebook.
Okay, great. We
Yes.
will add that to the moderators link. And if anybody has any questions, our moderators will add that. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
So we are online. Everybody can access Mom's Aid information, and there's a lot there that you can access and call us, and we'll be ready to support.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Okay, so we will bring Io to the stage. Thank you so much. Hi, Io. If you could share the organization that you are bringing to the spotlight, please. Thank you.
I am representing Cruz Bereavement Care today. As the name suggests, Cruz deals with people that have lost a loved one. It does not matter how long it has been that you've lost a person. As long as you've suffered a bereavement and you're struggling, Cruz is open to help you, and it is free. The kind of services we provide, it can be online, it can be over the telephone, and it can be in person as well. In order to sign up, what you need to do is either you call the national helpline, which I can give to you later, or when you go online as well at www.cruise.org.uk. Again, I'll provide all of that information. You can sign up and maybe complete the inquiry form. Or when you call the national line, or even the local, because there are also local hubs, someone will pick up and maybe take your details, and then they will get someone to contact you to do an assessment. Cruz offers between 6 to 7 free sessions, and it can be extended if we feel that it is necessary. Okay, in terms of other things that we provide, I've mentioned the in-person. We also have group sessions as well. We have a group session for partners who have loved, or people that have lost their partners. We have group walk and talk sessions as well. One of them as well is general, and the other one also is for people that have lost their partners, because we have many. I think we are having quite a few people coming up. So yeah, those are the kind of services that we offer. There's more information online. Yeah, thank you.
And for the Project Me free funded that you are offering, I hear that when delegates sign up, they receive a free lunch. Is that right?
Is that to me you're referring to?
Yes.
You know what? That's actually news to me. But if they have said that, I'm really not aware of that. That's
Okay, okay. And in terms of bereavement, at what point can you sign up for it? Could it be after, or is it exactly at the time?
we usually recommend that you sign up after the funeral. I think before then, there's still a lot going on. And there can also be a waiting list depending on whether you want face-to-face or you have actually asked for a specific, because you can ask for maybe a Black therapist or Black counselor, or we don't call them counselors, actually, we call them volunteers. So depending on what you're asking for, there could be a waiting list. So if you, for instance, contact crews before the funeral, they will advise you that say, okay, we can put you on the list and then hopefully we'll call you in the next, or just keep you informed. Yeah, so there is a bit of a waiting list, but usually we would recommend that after the funeral.
Sure. And what's your particular role there at Cruise?
I support service users by just sitting and counseling them. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah.
Wonderful. It's great to see a representation that there are Black mental health professionals out there and that these services are free. So our moderators are adding those details in. And guys, all of the contact details for all the panelists will be added to the Eventbrite, will be added to the Linktree link. So thank you, guys. So with the panel, if we can bring the representation for Oak Consult.
That would be me. So Project Me is Oak Consult. I think there's a little might have been a bit of confusion there. I'm not sure.
Yes. What's your that Oak Consult?
So Oak Consult, we generally introduce parent carers to the possibility of living a purposeful and fulfilled life, despite the challenges of raising children and young people with disability. We also raise awareness about disability matters and promote inclusion in all spheres of life. So we are currently running a program called Project Me. Project Me is for parent carers from the Black Asian minority BAME group living in Bromley. The program aims to support and empower parent carers from this community by providing information, support, network, and connection with our parents to help ease the burden of care as much as possible. We speak on subjects of mental health, general health, and well-being, how to build healthy relationships, empowerment, employment and finance, faith and spirituality as it pertains to the carer. So we run this program every Thursday at the Pavilion in Bromley from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. with free lunch provided. It is a 10-week program, and tomorrow would actually be our 5th week of our first phase. So we run the program, we plan to run it 3 times this year. So after this first phase, we would rerun it again from May to July, and then again from September to November. This program is a great opportunity to build relationship with other parent carers, facilitators, and consultants alike. This means that parent carers have access to free advice while having the opportunity to network, socialize, and develop new friendships and relationships. The program is fully funded, which means it is free for the parents, and certificate of completion will be awarded to each parent that completes at least 3 modules. There are 6 modules, and parents that go ahead to complete 6 modules would have the certificate and also pamper treatment as well. To register for this program, you just need to contact me, Amy. I think my details are on the chat, but yeah, I can, if you don't mind, I can, my details are, so my email is amy.adewale and it can be at allconsult.org. You can find more information about the program as well on our website, which is www.allconsult.org. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And one of your colleagues who's actually running the mental health well-being has actually been able to join us. So Sabrina, are you there via audio?
I am here. Sorry, guys, technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
That's fine. We've succumbed it the old school way, using the telephone, you know. I hope yours wasn't there, or the ringing one. So we've got there. So let's first start. Can you introduce your name and your job role, please?
Yeah, my name is Sabrina Joseph. I have many job roles. So my day job is I'm a social worker currently working with mental health team in adult social services. I'm also the CEO for Subs Disability Service, and where we provide advocacy for people with disability, support with PIP application forms, mentoring and coaching, to help them deal with the challenges that come with disability, and just so they can kind of feel that it's dependent and see themselves in a different light, in a different way.
Wonderful. And I understand that you're one of the facilitators for Project Me. What's your role at Project Me, please?
With Project Me, we've created a kind of workshop for carers so that they can remember the me within them. Because most carers, when you ask them about who are they would jump onto the person that they care for rather than focusing on them. So my module is about mental health and emotional well-being. We started last week looking at who you are as a carer, what leadership means, what well-being means, and the questions that challenge us and provoke kind of that thought within us. So my role within this project to facilitate that module for carers, but there are several modules within the project.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I understand you run your own non-profit. Do you want to share a little bit more about your non-profit? I'm going to bring you to the spotlight and remove Amy. So do you want to give a bit more about your organization?
Yeah, so my organization is called Disability Service. The STUB stands for Striving Towards Understanding Barriers with me, Sabrina. And the reason why it was created is because, especially when it comes to the Black and BMA community, we think about disability, what we bring to light is negative things. We don't see disability in a positive light. And my whole goal was to change the narrative on disability, show that disability doesn't have to look one way. It can look a variety of ways, and we can do a variety of careers, goals, and things, and kind of increase education and awareness. So you can find me on social media platforms as Stubbs Disability Life, and the same on Facebook. We also have a website, and I think the information is in the chat.
That's great. And I understand another segment of your services that you help with PIP, DLA application form filling. And for today, you're giving an opportunity for the delegates to have a consultation with you. So could you share how that works and how they can contact you?
Yep, just send an email to me, and my email address is stubdisabilityservice@gmail.com. And we'll arrange an online consultation meeting that normally lasts between 30 to 40 minutes. During that meeting, we will discuss what your needs are regarding PIP. We'll kind of go through some of the questions initially to see your likelihood of getting it, and also signpost you to different services that may help if you don't want to access my service at that time. But our goal is to help you no matter what at each step of the process.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks very much. Do stick around as we do have Q&As later on within the session today, in case anybody wants to reach out to you. And guys, in order to contact Sabrina, you can reach out to the chat directly to her, or you can also DM her by contacting our event host, Serena. So thanks very much, Sabrina. So guys, I'm also pleased to announce that this is a fully funded event which is funded by Greenwich Mental Health Hubs, and it's also funded by Oxley NHS. And what that means for you is we are providing free 30 minutes with a Black therapist free of charge. If you would like to sign up today for 30 minutes free of charge, please contact our event host, Serena, who will be happy to contact you, and she'll book you a slot, or you can send her an email, and those information will be added to the chat. Just simply text her, send her a DM, or just simply email her. I'd like to bring to the stage Blame for your spotlight.
Hello.
Hi, Blame. Lovely to meet you. So I'd like to find out a little bit more about what is an occupational therapist and how does that link with mental health?
An occupational therapist is a member of the allied health profession. We've been practicing in Britain for around 100 years, but through the registered body, the Royal College of Occupational Therapists, a membership organisation partnered with the British Association of Occupational Therapy, roughly 40,000 occupational therapists throughout Britain. We are therefore regulated by the Healthcare Professions Council. They, if you like, give us a license to practice, which we renew every 2 years for a couple of £100. Without it, we cannot use the title occupational therapy. 3-year training programs exist for typically the bachelor's degree in occupational therapy. And this is a level 4, 5, and 6 qualification done in universities up and down Britain. In recent years, the emergence of apprenticeship programs are available between employers, typically social services, councils in partnership with the universities to support employees on that training program. Training is approximately 3 years long, and the program covers a range of modules. When we qualify after 3 years, staff typically can get recruited at a hospital and undertake a rotation in various clinical specialisms. And that could include mental health as well as typical other sort of hospital type services. Would you be willing to look at just a few slides that I have of what we've recently shared with applicants around some of the testimonies of qualified OTs? Would you like to have a look at a few?
What you'll be able to do is send the link thereafter the event. It's due to technical difficulty, it will be slightly difficult to do that.
No
But
problem.
we have seen on your bio that in 2010, you completed a PhD, and you also did some research around inequalities. Could you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. You know, a driving passion I have as an occupational therapist, who's worked in mental health settings in London, East London Foundation Trust, and North East London Foundation Trust, Mental Health Foundation Trust, is the disparities. You know, we know we're highly represented in certain type of illnesses and in this country, mental health in particular, we're disproportionately represented in terms of sectioning and in terms of and other services. In the countryside, I'm not sure in terms of forensics, but I know that we're highly overrepresented in the prison population with mental health illnesses. And wouldn't forensic be a nicer path to go down than to be placed in prison with a lot of mental health symptoms? So I'm absolutely passionate about that, and my PhD explored an autoimmune disease called systemic lupus erythematosus, a condition that is disproportionately affects Afro-Caribbean women and Asian populations too. Autoimmune is another way for saying the immune system is not only good, but it's too good, and it starts to turn on itself. When I qualified for my PhD, I wanted to get into education, and then work for a number of years in a local college in Essex before getting an opportunity to work in Leeds, which is a multicultural community. So what I teach students is a team effort with colleagues, that sense of self-development, and Yalom's theory of group work is something that we've recently covered. It's really about recognizing that in order to sort of work with patients in group situations, we have to have an approach which recognizes that group relationships can help to support recovery. A colleague recently talked about discovery rather than recovery, not seeing mental health as an alien thing, but actually kind of owning it, if you like. Bella, is that okay so far?
Absolutely. What would you say the link is between occupational therapy and mental health? Where do they coincide together?
We believe as a fundamental assumption that what we do, that the meaningful occupations that we do from the time we wake up and throughout the sleep cycle is meaningful, and it helps to fulfill our identity. If we deprive people, or if the system deprives people of participating in a meaningful occupation, it will set back their potential to self-actualize, to fulfill their daily purpose. And so a meaningful occupation can be sleeping, it can be sitting, it can be walking, it can be writing, it can be doing poetry, drama. A colleague, Lloyd, mentioned earlier on, came alive to that. Brilliant. All these things in the context of medication. If we over-medicate people, psychiatrists still want to know, Blaine, how is the person's capacity to concentrate once we've upped the dosage? What are we finding when you go to do the home visit? How are their symptoms in the context of, say, going to the shop to buy a newspaper or spending time on their allotment? We bring those observations back to the multidisciplinary team, whether it's after an initial assessment or after a core assessment, to give feedback to the team. And that allows the psychiatrist to get a sense of that person's active symptoms starting to level off in the context of medication. Yes.
I have seen in my own experience, being admitted to a mental hospital, that there's always an occupational therapist department within the mental health hospital. Why is there such a link in the mental health hospital with the occupational therapists?
I think it goes back to our historical evolution, that before medication became so successful, there was something that was needed to distract the patient from their symptoms. It was that was the origins: distraction, diversion. When we think back to the days of the asylums, when I trained, there were still a few asylums, and whether it was gardening or carpentry or knitting, embroidery or drawing, these types of occupations were fundamental to helping that person fulfill their day. So that was our origins. And so I suppose it's a well-established intervention that's always sat alongside nursing and psychiatry. Psychiatry, as you know, had been quite aggressive in some parts of its intervention. When we look at electroconvulsive therapy, not for everybody, but hugely, hugely dramatic when we see the effects of that in the 1950s and 60s, for example. And other forms of shock and diversionary therapy in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, cold baths and other kind of really. So we've come from a background where the intervention has been really quite barbaric at times. It hasn't always been good bedside manner, and the sort of medical model, if you like, has to recognize the social side, that symptoms aren't a person's tragedy. You know, we can all help in terms of a community, a medical, the sort of ward community, the hospital community, and a wider community now with social prescribing. We need the third sector interventions to support recovery and, as a colleague said, discovery. Many of the colleagues here have skills in cognitive behavioral therapy, a fundamentally important intervention that is often scarce because of waiting lists. So occupational therapists have had a long-standing relationship in mental health.
Wonderful. Thank you for that insight. It's so important that we have this platform as an education and awareness for our Black community. So when they are seeking mental health support and they hear these type of keywords, occupational therapist or carers, they understand what these words mean. And by giving this platform, we hope that we're giving you some insight so you can take questions if you are visiting your GP or if you're in secondary care, primary care, and you want to learn more about your illness or mental health in general. So if you do have any questions for the panelists, please hit the chat and we'll get those questions answered for you. I'd like now to bring Lloyd to the spotlight. Thank you so much, Blaine. And for the audience, our moderators will add our social media links because you can find all of these conversations on Think Tenacity. So you can, after this event, you can go back and listen to this event recording in your own time via YouTube. We also have a podcast. So our event moderators will add all of those informations to the chat. So Lloyd, thank you so much for joining. So I understand that you are part of the Black Men's Custodian. Could you tell us a little bit about that organization and what do they do there?
Yeah, certainly. So the Black Men Consortium is a organization for Black men, run by Black men, and we do drama. We're not drama therapy, but it is like therapy. And it's a safe space where Black men can come together, share their vulnerabilities, share their lived experience, and then we put that together and we make a play or a performance. So we've tackled many sensitive subjects within the Black community. So we've done plays on Black men and suicide. We've done plays around the Black community and environmental racism. We've done intergenerational from granddad's son and grandson. We looked at that. And it's all done in a meaningful and productive way. Unfortunately, it's for Black men only, but it's a space that I believe is needed because within other spaces, you know, men don't really open up. Men don't talk about sensitive issues. So this is a space where they can voice those issues and have a conversation. So that's it in a nutshell, what we do.
Wonderful. And is this a free service for the Black men, for Black men's mental health?
Yes, it's a free service. We meet every Monday at Clubhouse Mosaic, which is 65 Effra Road in Brixton, 6 to 9. So you're free to come down. You can either ask for myself, Lloyd Curtis, or you can ask for Tony Seeley, who is the artistic director, as we like to call him, and join in the sessions. You know.
And do you have to sign up?
Average anyone. Yeah, you can sign up. You can either go online to theblackmen.com or you can just turn up on the day on Mondays and say, like, you're interested in joining the group, and you'll be welcome with open arms.
Thank you so much. There's a bit of delay here with the Wi-Fi. My apologies.
Yeah.
And do you
okay.
offer any other support, like for families or partners within the services?
Not at the moment, but we do get not at the moment, but we do get a lot of signposting to family therapy services and CAM services. But what we do offer is a men's walk and talk group, and we also offer a Black men's weight management program, which we've been running that for successfully for over a year.
Wonderful. And how long has the organisation been going for, the Black Men's Consortium? When did it launch?
Oh, well, I joined it at its initial conception, so about 2018. So it's been going on now for about 6 years. And each year we have developed and grown. So when I first started, we were doing shows and performances in library halls and church halls and stuff like that. And now we're actually in bigger and better stadiums. So for the last 2 years, we've been performing sold out shows at Brixton House Theatre. With a capacity of about 110, and we get them filled every performance every night. So that is really, really good.
So hopefully next year we might see you at the Oscars or the BAFTAs for one of the performance or win an award.
Well, as long as you wear your ball grand, then I'm happy to have you as my +1.
Wonderful. And where can we find you online?
Yeah, so you can find me on the blackmensconsortium.com. You can find me there. You can just send the email for the attention of Lloyd, and I'll get the email.
Okay, that's wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much for being part of our panel. Do stick around for questions and answers in the next segment. So thank you so much. So the next segment will be a Q&A with a Black therapist, a real Black therapist, and yes, they do exist. So I'd like to bring Wendy to the stage. So Wendy, can we bring you to the spotlight, please? Wonderful, Wendy. So if you can introduce, what is your job role? Because when we hear Black therapist, sometimes we're not sure, is that a counsellor or is that a therapist? So what's your job role, please, Wendy?
So my job role is a counsellor, but I am qualified as a systemic family practitioner. So that's not a family therapist, but it's a practitioner that uses family work, like family systems. I integrate my counselling with my coaching skills, my mentoring skills, and all the other skills that I have. So it's not just counselling, it's a variety of things that I work with.
Wonderful. And how do you deliver your therapy? Is it in person, Zoom, or telephone?
So it was mainly in person, face to face before COVID, and then it started becoming on Zoom. What happened that during COVID, I was trained to become a systemic family practitioner. So what I've now done is I've incorporated my online family practice skills so that I can work with families online, which is really great, because what happens sometimes is that, say the dad is still in the office and he can't get to a session, he will go on his device and mum and child will be on their device at home. So it really works much better online sometimes when you can't get the whole family in the room. And I've got resources that I can use and I can share online. I give exercise sheets and homework tasks. So it really works so much better online. I also work with neurodivergency, so dyslexia and ADHD and autism. So I'm specialising in that area as well. So again, you know, with the family work, I'm bringing the family together to understand what that is, because there's lots of stigma and misunderstanding about if your child has a diagnosis and if they get labelled. And with that, I also encourage the parents or the carers to get their support as well. So I can offer individual sessions to young people, adults. I work from 5 years upwards up to 100, 102, whatever. I work with individuals, couples, groups, families. I work with adoptive families. I work with blended families. So it's really a lot of different variety of work that I do with the counselling. I was trained in psychodynamic person-centered. These are like models of counselling, but I also trained in intercultural therapy, cross-cultural therapy. So it looks at all the different areas and diversity of people and their customs and their religions and their beliefs. So I draw that in as well. And I also work into intuition. So I work with my intuition as well. So it's a variety of ways that I work with counselling and with my clients and my families.
That's so refreshing to hear. So if we look at the mental health conditions, would you cover most of the common mental health conditions? So if it's trauma, anxiety, depression, would those be common mental health conditions that you can support?
Yeah, so those are all common conditions, and they all usually then sort of like start from losses. So when we talk about all these things, we talk about loss. So I talk about bereavement and loss in all of these things, in the trauma and the depression, because it all comes down to losses and separation and things like that. So sometimes somebody would come in with depression, but the main key thing would be about a loss or something that hasn't been resolved. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you cover racial trauma? Because this is something that's very common within the Black community. And the first question I should ask you is, do you agree or disagree that racial trauma or race anxiety can affect your mental health?
I do agree it can affect your mental health, definitely. Everybody has their own understanding about what racial trauma is. So when they come into a session, I get them to tell me what they feel racial trauma is. So it all depends on their history and about disparities and the discrimination that they faced. If they've been separated from families, come over from a different country to settle in this country. So really what I look at is like the history of that person and where it's come from. So I'd use a model that's called psychodynamics. So we look at the childhood responses. We even think about like if somebody's pregnant and they have a trauma with the baby in the womb, that can have a trauma to that person that's growing up as well. So we even go back to those sort of things. So we plot the family systems out to see, well, where has that come from? Because they might not even have or be conscious of those things. So the racial disparities could come from even when the mother might not have got the care that she needed when she was pregnant. You know, she might have been a single mom or a mom on her own, or she might have even hidden a pregnancy. And it's about why did she have to do that? And it could have been because of her mental health.
Absolutely. We do have some Eventbrite questions. There is a very common question about triggers. When I'm having a trigger that might lead to the depression or trauma anxiety, what are ways we can manage our triggers that might be a general way of managing triggers?
So I think we talked, the panel talked about exercise and talked about relaxation and breathing and moving and all of those sort of things. I think it's really important that you can be with the community of people as well, if that's possible. So I explained that, you know, I do Zumba and it's not just because I want to be fit, to get fit or exercise, but I have a community of people around me as well. So that after the class, we talk. And I think, you know, if you're able to talk and have a community of somebody to talk to, I think that's really important. even if you walk down the street, because I know back in my mum's country and, you know, some of our countries, and even now we would walk and we'll say, good morning, hello, etc. So even if you're feeling down and you don't know that person or something, even if you just say hello or you smile or something, you know, try and get your brain to be thinking about something different. If you can't do something because you can't afford to, like, maybe go for a massage or something, do hand massages yourself, get the oils and do the pampering yourself. You don't always have to have money to be able to look after yourself. And that is the key thing. You have to look after yourself.
Wonderful. Some people who might be new to therapy, and we advocate that therapy does work, but we recognize our community are new. How can they prepare, say, for their first therapy session? They've never had it before. What should they do to prepare?
Okay, so research. So look for a therapist that you feel you can connect to. And even if you find a therapist and you feel, oh, you know, I have to stick with this therapist because I've chose that therapist, you don't have to. If you're not connecting with that therapist, you will know, your intuition will tell you if you fit well with that therapist. Word of mouth as well. If you know somebody that's been to a therapist or an organization, that's always a good step, because word of mouth, you know, they'll be able to give you an idea of how that person works, how that counselor works. The other thing is, because I don't just do counseling, I do mentoring and coaching. Sometimes there's a stigma about counseling, so I offer the coaching or the mentoring instead. So having that variety, I think, is really important to offer that person. And the other thing I also do is doing training in counseling skills. So basic listening skills, basic communication skills, and that really helps as well. So it's really about, it's just searching. It's just like when you're looking for a holiday or looking for something, just do your research, just look online or word of mouth.
A question that came in from the Eventbrite, an ominous question, which was very common, was around self-isolation. You can become quite isolated, struggling with mental health challenges. What tips would you give to overcome feeling of isolation?
Yeah, so I've got a personal experience of that, because my sister, she was diagnosed with mental health. And what happened is, like, she isolated herself from the family, and unfortunately, she, you know, she passed away suddenly. And the family think about, well, how can we help? How could we have helped that person? What could we have done? Because we did go and we did try to help. We did try to give her, you know, names and references of services and what to do. But when somebody's in a place where they feel isolation and helplessness and hopelessness, there's only so much you can do. So what I would say is that if somebody's feeling like that, again, it's about walking, it's about getting out there and talking to people and just doing, there's lots of things now. There's podcasts, there's things that you can watch, you know, YouTubes, there's so many things that you can do. There's music. So if you're really stuck and you're feeling isolated, it's just about trying to be around a community and to talk, to share. If you, for instance, if you're in a house, in a housing situation, and you feel that, you know, that you can't afford your rent, or you can't afford to get something to eat, or you can't afford to shop, these people can still help you. So it's about talking and letting them know how you're feeling, because they can help. They're not just housing officers, you know, they do have a duty of care for other things as well.
Another question that came in via the Eventbrite: how can we deal, or could you give some tips for coping strategies for trauma?
Coping strategies for trauma, again, it's on a spectrum. So it depends on, you know, the trauma and how long you've had the trauma as well, or if it's a trauma that's been, you know, it's just come to the consciousness. So the first thing is you have to be kind to yourself and not to blame yourself and not to ridicule yourself or give yourself negative talk. And just take things gently and softly. Everybody is at a different pace of recovery. So if you've got your brother or your sister or somebody that's been through the same trauma as you, and they're like professionals or they're doing really well, do not, sort of like compare yourself to your brother or your sister or somebody else that's been through a trauma. You do it at your own pace, and just be kind to yourself. Just listen to your intuition, listen to yourself. Oh, I think you're on mute.
That's really great. And a question that's really common in our Eventbrite anonymity. Do you agree, is depression real, or is the myth correct? Just get out of bed, shake it off. Is depression real?
I think that we all have depression at some level in our lives, and it depends on what you call depression. Depression can start from just feeling, I just feel lazy, I feel sad, and it's a spectrum. So it can go from there up to you don't want to get out of bed at all, you don't want to hear or speak to anybody. So it's on a spectrum. So it depends on where it is. But when you start feeling that is going from, oh, I just want a day in bed to I don't want to go out for 5, 6, 7 days. It's about, when do you get help? When do you source help? And it's important that people around you notice that as well, the pattern of behavior, so that they can say, well, I've not seen you today. Or, do you want to come out for a walk? So it's about your community. I know I keep saying this, but it's about the people around you reflecting. I've noticed, I've observed. So yes, there is depression, but it's on a spectrum.
And what are some tips for coping with anxiety?
Anxiety, I would say mindfulness, breathing, tapping. So tapping is just like, you could just go like this, tap, just to, just massaging yourself, just soothing yourself. Because when you think of it, we've all been babies and we've all wanted soothing. We've all wanted a cuddle, or we've all wanted some sort of connection. So if you can do it to yourself, if you can find a way to look after yourself, again, that's really important, because you're not always going to have somebody that's going to be able to look after you. So it's about finding ways. What's your joy? If you've got photos of a holiday that you've had, print them out. Don't just have them on your phone. Print them out. Do like a vision board or something. If there's a concert that you went to, listen to the music of that concert that that made you feel really good, and transport yourself back to that time. All of these things, by the way, all these things sound simple, but again, it's not simple when you're actually sometimes in that place. But these are tips that you could try, and you don't have to try all of them, just sample a few things. But I also think making sure you have your senses, awareness of your senses, your smell, your touch, your hearing, just all the senses. Just make sure you tap into those senses.
Another common question in our Eventbrite anonymous question is, those that are not familiar with therapy, they want to know, does it really work, and how long should I do it for? Do you do it for 6 months, 8 weeks? What's the recommended time, or is there a recommended minimum time to pursue therapy that it works?
Okay. So if somebody comes to me for therapy, I say to them at least 6 weeks, 6 sessions, to see if it works, to commit themselves to that. And then I will say to them, they can decide if they want to continue. I've got some clients that have been with me for a number of years, but they haven't been to see me weekly. They come in fortnightly or monthly. They'll come in when they feel ready. So when we originally started, it was up to 12 weeks or 20 weeks, but now they come back to top up when they feel that they want to do something like that. So I'm quite flexible. So I work with them there's a lot of clients that, financial, they can't afford weekly sessions. So I'll give them block bookings. So it depends on the person, in terms of how long they want to have therapy for. I can't hear you.
And how confident is the level of confidentiality for therapy? Do you share it with their parents, their friends and family?
Okay, so if I'm working with young people and they're under a certain age, I will say to them, if there's safeguarding concerns, I will have to contact their parents. If there's a safety concern with somebody who's talked about harm or danger, again, because I'm with the BACP, Code of Ethics, that's the British Association of Counselling, and I have my indemnity insurance, I have a duty of care. So I would speak with the person that comes to my sessions at the beginning and give them the confidentiality statement, so they are aware of when I might have to break confidentiality. But I don't do it behind their back. We do it together. Everything I do, we do it together. So if I have to ring social services, we do it together. I don't let them come off the line or from the session and go on social services. We do it together, and I follow through with them. I don't leave them. I do continue with them side by side through the process as well.
Thank you so much for that answer. Another question that we have is, how can we promote research into mental health within the Black community, especially for mistrust of authorities?
I think just sharing your life experiences, just like I've given a snippet of my sister, it's like sharing your life experiences. I've got a few articles that I've done for free, for the BACP, for an organization called SRF. I've done a podcast. So really it's about sharing your story, and not to be afraid to share your story, because your story can help other people. So it doesn't matter how professional you are or what status you are, you can, save a life or save somebody from going down a similar journey to you or a family member by sharing your story. So I would say journal, do articles, podcasts, even like come on as a guest speaker on a panel and just share.
And with that, we're going to take a short pause, because you've mentioned something there that's really unique about sharing. So I'm hoping that those that can hear, I'm just going to test the audio to make sure that the sound, where are we? Okay, yeah. So Wendy, can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear this? Life was saved with the Samaritans. Okay, so for the audience, I'd like to share a video with you that actually digs deeper to share my inspiration to why I set up Making Time for Black Mental Health events. My life was saved with the Samaritans. If the Samaritans weren't there, I may not be here to record this video. There was one evening, things just got way too much. I just had enough. I just wanted to go. I really didn't want to be here. And I didn't think anything was worth, I didn't think I'll be missed. And then I phoned the Samaritans. They actually made me feel like I was somebody, just a person, and that my life was warranted. Sorry, I might get emotional because I've called the Samaritans before and they always say this: you can call us back again. From a statistic I heard, I think a call is answered like every 10 seconds, which shows the service is much needed. You can make sure Samaritans are here to listen. So guys, I really wanted to share that video with you. Part-time, I actually volunteer with the Samaritans. I've been volunteering with the Samaritans for about 3 years. and I am a suicide attempt survivor. I actually live also with 4 other mental illnesses. I'm diagnosed with bipolar. I'm diagnosed with PTSD, social anxiety, and borderline personality disorder. So my inspiration to set up Making Time for Black Mental Health was for you, to show you that regardless what mental health conditions you are struggling with, you are amazing and you are brilliant. And if you are struggling with a mental health condition, guess what? It's not just you, because statistics shows that 1 in 4 of us struggle and will struggle with a mental health condition throughout a whole year. So what does that mean? If you walk into Starbucks, your favorite yoga place, the gym, sauna, swimming, poetry, theater, the cinema, just count. Every 4th person is struggling just like you. So it was really important for me to use my voice and use my voice as a Black woman to show that we need to, as a community, break stigma and start these conversations. And by starting these conversations, it creates awareness that this does exist. Not only does it exist, that there is help out there. And by using my voice, I hope to be an advocate and a role model that there was one time I was struggling 3 years ago and I actually wanted to end my life. But there is a fruitful success when you seek mental health, because I've now found my own way of getting support through a therapist, which I had no idea that Black therapists exist. And a celebration that I'd like to share with you, the video that you've just seen is actually been a multimedia campaign by the Samaritans, and it's actually on TV right now, on ITV, ITV4, London Live, Channel 4. And the video that I recorded as a volunteer for the Samaritans has actually been a finalist for an award, for the Charity Films Award for 2024. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to share the link with you so that you can actually vote for this film to win the award, and it will be a People's Choice Award. So I'm going to add the link in the, I'm just going to bring up the ceremony takes place on the 21st or 20th of March. And I'm just going to try and see if I can find the finalists so you can see. Let's bear with me. Oh, it's actually closed here. Let's see if we can see the Samaritans. I may not be able to bring it up. Has it come up? I will add the link to the chat, and I just urge you to share. And also, if you have the opportunity to vote, that'll be wonderful. So guys, we are coming to the close of Making Time for Black Mental Health event, but I'd just like to bring you to the attention of our Linktree, and I'll ask the moderators to add the Linktree link, because this is where you can get all the information about our organization. We are 24 hours a day. We are accessible online, so any support you need, you can access that. We do have a next event, which is our first actually in-person event at Woolwich. There are a few tickets left, so guys, grab your tickets and sign up and bring a friend. And at this event, there'll be a panel of Black therapists. So we really urge you to come along, and you actually get to meet our team in person. Some of you might be wondering, well, how do I get in touch with the panelists that came on the spotlight today? They were so great. I want to sign up for some of those services that are free. If you just scroll here to contact for the event panel, you'll be able to get information of all the panelists today, where you can sign up, get all of their information. You might also be wondering, how do I find Making Time for Black Mental Health? Well, we're on all of the social media channels, whichever your favorite. If it's Facebook, Instagram, you can find us. TikTok, we're here. You can also DM us, Twitter, YouTube. You can get all of our past panel. If you love the self-care part of our segment, you can go to Think Tenacity, where you can see other past panelists and what were their self-care activities, and some of the Eventbrite questions as well, where you can view those. So do follow us on social media. The moderators will add our panel links into our social media. We also have a gift for you, talking about self-care. We don't just walk the walk, we walk the walk and do the walk of the walking. Some of us run with the walk, some of us walk with the walk. So we are providing you a gift for your time today and taking the time to look after your mental health today. So everybody today can sign up for a free self-care card. So you must be saying, what's that? Oh, does self-care really work? Well, we've proved it has worked today. So you'll fill in your details here. What's your favorite food? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite movie? And we'll add your name and we will send you your very own self-care card. How does that sound to you guys? To have your own self-care card. And the reason that we do this is that we do know that there are some days that things may not just go too well. You know, things might not. So this is a nice reminder. What we would like to ask our delegates before we round up is if you can take a moment to please, if you can take a moment to write us a review on Google, because what we have found and what our data has shown is many Black members in our community have no idea or have no knowledge about these services, that our organization exists. And most of all, it's free. We work really hard to get free funded events. So if you can click that Google review and type a lovely review of how you've enjoyed the event today, it will help us reach more people. And we are not just London-wide, Bromley, Lewisham, Greenwich. We are UK. We have people coming as far as Dorset, Manchester. So we would really, really appreciate your reviews because it helps another person. And representation really, really matters. If we see another person that looks like us, that's going through the same struggles, it motivates us. So guys, please do share that. I'd also like to let you know, at the moment, we have a Discord membership, but the Discord membership is closed. It will reopen in April. But I do have some good news. We have a WhatsApp membership group, which is a little bit exclusive. So when we run these events, those in our WhatsApp community are able to get the links first. We do a lot of polls. We ask, well, guys, we want to run another workshop. What should we do? Generational trauma, anxiety, sleep. What should we do? So I'd love for you guys to join our WhatsApp community. I'm just checking if there's any other questions within the chat. Okay. So before we end, I'd like to say a big thank you to Wendy. I'd like to just bring on Lloyd because there was a question in our events anonymous about journaling, and Lloyd is an occupational therapist and he has some really great insights into this. So Lloyd, if I can bring you onto the spotlight, that would be fantastic. So let's
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Lloyd, great. So a common question that we received in the event anonymously is about journaling. Could you give some insight? What is journaling and does it really work?
So journaling is, putting your thoughts and ideas on paper. And does it work? Yes, because it gives you the opportunity to look back and review how you were, and the place that you are going to be. I would suggest that it's a very great tool to use. Because you can write about yourself, you can write about your relationships, you can write about your life events, you can you can relate it to a particular moment, mood, how you were feeling. And some of the benefits of journaling is that it helps you to manage your stress, it helps you to manage anxiety, and in some cases can actually help you to manage depression, and help you understand some of the stresses and look at some of the triggers in your life. I hope that helps. Was that clear for everyone?
Yeah. So how would I start if I've never done journaling before and I open my notebook or sheet of paper? What do I start writing?
So there's two things. So you can have the electronic version. So I think somebody mentioned, I think it was Wendy mentioned about having, like, there's a lot of apps now that you can use for journaling. You could record it, do a video diary or audio diary. So the first thing you choose to, I think, today I'm feeling, or you just start off, the once upon a time there was me and I felt, and then you just develop it. You can, it's really, because it's yours, you make it personal to you.
What I
And then,
love to hear about that is there's no right or wrong. Whatever comes to your mind, there's no
exactly.
right. It's a creative task.
Yeah,
Whatever comes to your mind, you can just write it. And I think one of the great things that you've said is that you can come back to it at any time and rewrite it or
yes,
reread it.
yes. So, I mean, if you reflect on it, say maybe in a year or so, you look back, say, well, last year. Okay, let's for example, if you look at COVID was a difficult period for a lot of people. If you had started a journal then and you expressed on all your emotions, all your feelings, all your anxieties, all your fears, roll on 4 years now, when COVID is kind of over, and you look back and you think, my state of mind at that time was this, but I've developed resilience factors to cope with managing stress better. So that's one of the positive benefits that you can get from it.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. It was such a common question that came at an Eventbrite, and I see the benefits of journaling. It took me a long time to get the process, and there is no right or wrong. Some days I may write 2 pages, some days I might write half a page. So thank you so much for sharing. So we are coming to the close of the event, and I'll bring all the panelists back on this spotlight, and I'll ask the delegates, before we close the event, does anybody have any questions that they would like to ask the panelists? Were there any questions in the chat? Does anybody have any questions before we close, or information that you need from Making Time for Black Mental Health? As I've mentioned before, we have a funded program where you can sign up to get 30 minutes free. So if it's not something you want to do today, then we will send you a reminder of how to do that. And you simply contact Serena by sending a text or email. There is another poll that I understand is happening right now. So if you'd like to complete that poll, that would be amazing. So while the delegates are completing the poll, panelists, do you have any last tips, thoughts for the delegates before we close, or something else you'd like to share about your services?
Can I just say something real quick? So, although I offer low-cost services, you can sometimes get money from the local government for counselling sessions, especially for your young people. So I have worked in schools where the local government or the authority of that child's area have paid for sessions for a counsellor or a therapist. So there is money out there from your local government if you feel that you need support and you need to pay for sessions for yourself or your children or your family as well.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Any other panelists? Io, would you like to contribute?
Yes, I'd like to say that the highlight for me tonight has been really the storytelling, the sharing of experiences. And I want to say that we cannot really overemphasize this. It's a good thing to really just speak to people and reach out to your support network, what's happening to you. Bella, I want to say thank you to you for what you're doing, you and your team. The film that, or the clips that you showed really brought me to the point of tears, and that just shows you how powerful our personal stories are. So thank you, and yes, that's me. Thank you.
Amy, would you like to contribute? Thank you.
Oh yes, I was just going to add, in addition to our services, also that parents can also self-refer themselves. So even if they don't have children that are necessarily diagnosed with any kind of disability, if they feel like they have a child that has a disability, they can self-refer, and we can accept such parents as well for the services that we provide.
Wonderful. Blame. Lloyd, would you like to contribute? Thank you, Lloyd.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, over to you, Lloyd. You'd like to contribute, and then we'll go to Mercy, then Blaine. Over to you, Lloyd. I think Lloyd might be struggling a bit. So we'll go to Mercy, then we'll go to Lloyd. Mercy, would you like to contribute? And then we'll come back to you, Lloyd.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a very insightful program. Mom's Aid is in Greenwich. So please, moms, pregnant women, if you are suffering, you come from the Black background, please refer yourself or speak to your midwife or health visitor, and we are ready to support you. Thank you.
Lloyd?
Did you hear me? Oh.
Yeah, hi, yeah. So what I wanted to say is that this is just to encourage anybody who may have a partner, an uncle, a brother, a son, and they want to get involved in a drama group for Black men. Please come down to the Black Men's Consortium. We're more than happy to support you and help you in any way that we can. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so all of the contact details for the Black therapists will be available, for the panelists will be available in a LinkedIn tree. Blaine, did you have something to contribute? Thank you. Thank you, Blaine, if you can unmute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bella. And I'm not sure if you take compliments much, but really it's to thank you for all you do with all that you've lived through, to give time to all of us in the community for as a resource. I think everybody, you'd all agree, wouldn't you? If you can give a like, a thumbs up, a comment, let's really give Bella her flowers now, because it takes a lot to coordinate and organize. Without your input, we wouldn't be here now, and your spurning imagination of what can be done with caring. I want to thank colleagues, panel members, for being in your company today, and keep up the brilliant work and initiatives you're doing and the support you're offering. You know, so that's a real thank you there. I'm an occupational therapist, or a profession in in high demand. If any of you have children, grandchildren wanting to go to university, this is an excellent career, and we are a career that need diversity in the profession. Encourage them to look up the Royal College of Occupational Therapy, mental health, special interest groups as well. So along with psychiatry, along with mental health nursing, think about occupational therapy as a profession so that we can be more at the front line engaging with people. So thank you, Bella. Thank you.
Thank you for those kind words. Thank you so much. And guys, if you want to see us in person, we're doing our annual event in Woolwich. We only do these maybe once, twice a year because we require funding to run it. It's in Woolwich. It's literally 2 minutes walk from Woolwich Arsenal. We'd love to see you. Bring a friend, bring your family, bring your loved ones. We've added the links into the chat. If you want to contact us, just reach us at hello@thinktenacity.com. hello@thinktenacity.com. And one of the team will get in touch with you. Any questions you have about the panelists, just contact us at hello@thinktenacity.com. So guys, thank you so much for being part of this event. Thank you so much. And you can get the YouTube replay of this event. If there were some questions or you wanted more information about the panelists, you can go to our YouTube channel at Think Tenacity to get a playback. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you to the panelists for your time and coordination. Mum's Aid, Oak Consult, Black Men's Consortium, the Occupational Therapist, Subs Disability. So thank you so much to everybody that came today. Cruise Bereavement, Wendy, the Black Therapist. We're really gracious and honoured that you were able to be part of the event today. So I hope to see you again, and maybe we'll do this in person.
Thank you, Bella. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you guys for attending. As mentioned, all the information that you need, you can access through our LinkedIn tree. So thank you guys so much. I'll just give you that information here. So if you go to the LinkedIn tree link here, I have two screens. So if you go to the LinkedIn, all the information that you need, you'll find on the LinkedIn. So if you want to see the panelists for today, just click that link and you can see, get all of their details. You can actually go up here to share to another person. And for your event gift, you just click event gift here and you'll be able to get your self-care card. You just fill in the details and wait 28 days. That will be sent to you. We have another event, which is an in-person event, and this is free for you to attend. So simply go to our annual in-person event here, and it will take you to the Eventbrite page, and you just register attend. Yes, you can bring a friend, and yes, you are able to ask questions to the Q&A panel. So we really urge you to attend and get your questions answered. If there were other questions that you wanted to get answered, then you can definitely ask via the Eventbrite link. what else can you find on our LinkedIn tree? We really urge you to make a Google review, because this helps us reach a wider platform so that we can reach more people in the community to help our mission, so that they can get free access to Black therapists by writing a review. We really appreciate this. And within our Google review, you can see past photos, you can see events that we've run, how to sign up for our services, how to share the information. You can meet some of our therapists.
Why do you think there is Black mental health stigma?
Different variations of why, whether it's racial, whether it's psychological, whether it's financial, whether it's through migration and where people move from one location to another, and lack of help, lack of understanding, institutions of police, health, judicial. We're just another community and people as anybody else, but if we're not receiving the same help or lack of it, it creates another barrier. So therefore, within ourselves, we have a conversation, but we have an inner dialogue, but we don't express it. So there's a lack of communication with each other, first of all, and there's also, because there's lack of communication, there's lack of help and lack of understanding.
And what are your views on the lack of communication amongst our brothers, not as comfortable to talk about their struggles with mental health? Why do you think that is?
I think primarily men in general are viewed, or supposed to be viewed, as strong, first of all. Then, especially for Black men, it's supposed to be viewed as strong, but it's also enhanced and toxified with the music and videos that we're watching, or the actual community being given. So a lot of them is all about killing, a lot of them is all about sexing and the what can I say, the misogynistic language that has been given out, that men should be like this, and it's almost celebrated. No, it isn't. It's not almost. It certainly is celebrated. That is almost victorious, that you have more than one woman and that you treat her in a certain way, and it's put out there in the community. So our young men are hearing that, growing up with that same kind of toxic attitude, and therefore now when they do go through stuff and maybe they want to relearn, maybe they want to rethink of how they've been thinking, it's a lot harder. So the conversation amongst each other that they do have, is very easy to express anger for Black men. It's very easy to express misogynistic behavior, but to express what else they're going through is shunned upon sometimes. So that part, to express themselves any other way apart from anger, misogyny, or sexualized behavior, it's almost deemed as abnormal. But slowly but surely that narrative is changing.
How to sign up. Visit Eventbrite page or scan Google support form.
So guys, you can visit our Eventbrite page. We do urge you to follow the Eventbrite page as well, because that's where you'll get notified for all the events that are coming up. Those that may not have gone live as yet, that you can sign up to. So the next event will be on here. So all the information is on there. As well, on the LinkedIn tree, you can get information for our social media. So all of our social media channels at Think Tenacity. You can use the LinkedIn tree to find all of our social media channels, just searching Think Tenacity. So guys, thank you so much. And for our YouTube channel, there's lots of information there on the YouTube channel. We do urge you to subscribe so you can get notifications. A lot of people ask and wonder where do you find the replay of today's event? If you go to live, you'll actually see there's a previous one that's in our channel under live. And then today's one is here, which has got the live icon. If you want to see previous Eventbrite questions, then you can click here to view some of the Eventbrite questions that have been answered before, which are really useful. And you can
trends, if any, have you noticed in your work? I've also seen that there's been an increase in young black males entering therapy. It's really lovely to see that there are young men who are just coming in to take charge of their mental health and kind of be okay with not being okay. And I've definitely seen an increase in it compared to when I qualified. There has been like a big increase. So I've noticed that has happened. I've also, in general, just noticed a lot more black people coming in for therapy and really.
What are the most common type of mental health issues suffered by Black people?
I think the most common type and the one that I hear most often is depression. In fact, depression is misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed in people of color. And it's because they present with other issues, or there might be something else in front of the depression, and that is what's labeled, but not the actual mood disorder underneath. So I would say, and it doesn't just have to be depression, but mood disorders, I would say.
For the listeners who may want to take up therapy with yourself, who have never experienced or know what therapy is, what would you say the benefits are of therapy?
It's mandatory to take our course for MOT. So do we treat our mental health the same way? Sometimes we look out for the exterior more than the interior. Unless we're well, we all won't be well. So we've got to be well. So what's the benefits of therapy? It's about you. You'll be able to understand you more. You reflect more. You're more. So do we treat our mental health as more self-aware? You're understanding your why of why you respond in a certain way. Because learning and what we understand is all around us. But sometimes what we've absorbed, what we've taken in, we may not be aware of. So if we can understand, why do I respond like that? Why do I feel like that? Why do I feel triggered? Then you may not be so easily manipulated or misunderstood, because you understand yourself more.
How to sign.
Why do you think, what's the
bombs are still falling?
So guys, wrapping up, making time for Black mental health events. We're so glad that you were able to join us. Do follow us on all of our social media platforms where you'll get alerts. Our Discord membership will be open in April. In the meantime, you can join the WhatsApp membership. If you need to reach us, you can DM us at any of our social media platforms, or you can send us an email at hello@thinktenacity. Guys, take care. Thank you so much for joining.